So I think there's three things that I wanted to maybe just speak to. The one was the challenge, the triple threat that we face. I think some of the other colleagues have shared it, but maybe if I can just re-summarize it in my own way. Quality water is an issue. The supply of water is an issue. And the cost of water is an issue. Those three challenges, in a high level, are the things that I see us grappling with. And obviously this is a very dynamic environment, and there's many stakeholders, there's lots of nitty-gritty components within the overall ecosystem. But those are the big challenges that we see. At a supply level, the quality of the water is the challenge, and I think Mr. Rodney spoke about that quite extensively, and all the work and challenges that are faced there. Then there's the issue of getting the water to the customer, and that's where our other speaker raised the challenge of non-revenue water and the fact that we have 50% of water that is on its way to the customer that is lost through leakage. Huge, huge challenge. And of course that becomes the third point, the compounding issue of the cost of water and who's paying for the water and what are the dynamics that come with the losses of water, you know, because remember, it's not just the cost of water, it's the knock-on effects. It actually uses electricity to produce the water. There's a cost to that, you know. The challenges and the frustration in the community and you know, the damage to infrastructure that comes with the frustration of not being able to supply communities effectively. And all of these things ultimately become a customer issue, because who's the one that pays this? It becomes a taxpayer challenge at the end. So that's the way that we frame this triple threat that we're experiencing. And again, we summarizing a very complicated environment into some very simple terms here. I think the third point that I have here speaks to now what is it that Motheo is doing, because I think there's an old adage, it says, how do we eat an elephant? Everyone knows the answer to that. We have to do it one bite at a time. But it's then the question of where are we, and I think you can put yourself in your feet there. What are you doing, and what is your focus area? And it can't be everything, because I think it's an impossible task then. So for us, what do we focus on? Because there's a challenge around the cost and where's the budget coming from. Where we focus very much is on the revenue side of the water. So in other words, the consumer, and who's the consumer for us? So it's not just you at home, you know, at your home busy washing pots, but if you think about the departments, if you think about schools, universities, if you think about big customers that, for example, own the consumption part, you know, once the water goes over the meter and it starts to roll, we have a lot of focus on those customers and how do we support the losses of water within their network, okay? And so even that, there's a cost. Normally they have to pay according to whatever the meter is running, how much it is. So if you can reduce the amount of water that these entities are using, then we can make a great saving. Okay, so that's one area that we focus on, is cost savings using technology, because I think that's one thing that hasn't necessarily been spoken about, is how do we use technology to actually combat these challenges. Okay, so that's the one thing. Through infrastructure development that we build, as I mentioned earlier, we build infrastructure, we have dam projects, we have reservoirs, we have all of our housing developments, all of our civil projects. It's about implementing new infrastructure that we're involved in with an eye for the future. So thinking green technologies, thinking tech, thinking design, thinking how do we optimize water usage going forward. And I think that's a critical outcome that maybe yet hasn't been factored into the numbers yet, because I think it's a lot of this infrastructure is being built today for the future. And then I'd say the last thing is the skills development part of it, which is critical. And again, I want to bring the attention back to EWSETA now and the monumental challenge that we have around capacitating the future leaders and the technical people that are going to be carrying out the great strategies that we hear from some of the other panelists that presented these great analysis and challenges that we need to solve now. But who's going to be solving it? I don't think we're going to solve this today or tomorrow. We can continue taking a bite, but the future has got to be the future people that we're busy capacitating to not only be ethical, because that's one of the big issues we have, not only to be subject matter experts in this area, which is another challenge we have, but to actually have this mindset of we're doing this for South Africa, and we're not, we're doing it for the right reasons and to actually achieve an outcome. So I think there's a lot to be said, but let me just round that off for there. Thank you, panelists. Thank you, everyone.